Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Liverpool FC Transfer Room live stream. Tonight, I'm joined by Stuart and Reese. Forgive me if I'm not trying to do a Sean Dyche impression. I'm trying to stop myself from losing my voice. So do bear with me if I am trying to pull that off, apparently. So without further ado, we'll get into it. Before I do, I will point this out. I just want a quick. I haven't had my chance of voice on the internet to say a quick thank you for the last 9 years of service to the club. For a third of our life, Jurgen Klopp has been in charge of Liverpool and done an out of this world job. Just wanted to say from the bottom of my heart, and I could probably make Stuart and Reese here, and every Liverpool fan out there, thank you for your service. Thank you for making it the wildest ride of my life and giving them memories that will last in a lifetime. Just a quick one on that. Well, first up, lads, as I mentioned before we went live, some good news, some great rewards coming out by a very good England manager, that Curtis Jones and Jarrell Quansah have earned a call-up thanks to their exploits this season. Stuart, what do you think of the news? Do you think it will, well, firstly, does it benefit Liverpool?
Does it benefit us? In terms of sort of fitness and readiness for next season, probably not. But experience-wise, if both of them do end up getting selected to go to the tournament, then yeah, the experience will benefit themselves in their careers, obviously. I was a little bit surprised, to be fair. I was absolutely banking on Southgate going down the old route of picking the likes of Hendo and other players, Calvin Phillips and that, Sterling, the ones who everybody been telling him are out of form and shouldn't be playing or picked, and actually take a chance and start picking the players that are in form, as it should be, as far as I'm concerned anyway. The other little surprise was that it wasn't Elliott instead of Jones.
That's what I was going to say. I'm surprised that even Elliott didn't get a mention.
My personal pick, again, I've lauded Elliott all season on plenty of these podcasts, but looking at statistics, form, fitness, readiness, and all that sort of stuff, Elliott is well ahead of Jones at the moment. So I'm a little bit surprised at that, but I hope both of them do well. I hope they do get picked and get to go to the tournament. It's deserved for both of them, especially Quansah. He's been brilliant since he's come in. So yeah, it's thoroughly deserved.
Yeah, exactly. You mentioned Jarrell Quansah there. What a 12 months. Absolutely incredible. Go back 12 months. He was playing for Bristol Rovers under Joey Barton, which is absolutely balmy. 12 months later goes to being on the provisional squad for England. An absolute exceptional season for Liverpool. Probably comes second choice over the season. Reese, what do you reckon about Jarrell Quansah? Does he remind you of anybody in particular that's currently in the squad anyway? Does he give you hopes that we don't really need a centre back for this summer? Or
I still would buy a centre back, but like I said, a left-sided centre back. I still think, but I would like someone that is not a young centre back, someone who's ready, who's maybe international, someone who's kind of playing now. Quansah, very impressed with Quansah. I saw something on Twitter that at the start of the season, he was our 5th choice centre back, and towards the end of the season, he was the 2nd choice, which shows kind of leaps and bounds how he's come on. And I remember him saying when Matip was injured, even though obviously you don't want no players to get injured, he's kind of saw it as, I'm trying to make this position mine, and that's the kind of attitude I kind of want from young players, football players in general. That's kind of attitude you got to try and do what's push yourself to the limit and do what's best for you. In terms of who he reminds me of Van Dijk. Obviously, no one's ever going to be exactly like Van Dijk, but he just seems very calm on the ball. He seems like he kind of has all the attributes. He very rarely goes to ground, and when he does go to ground, he wins the ball. He just seems like a very talented player. I think it's kind of helped us, because I think if we didn't have Quansah coming, I think we would have had to get 2 centre-backs, but I think now we only have to get 1. So yeah, I can't speak highly enough for Quansah, to be fair.
Yeah, exactly. And just regards to Curtis Jones, I don't know about you, Stuart. England too typically play with a 4-3-3, and if they're going to play Rice and Bellingham, I feel like that third centre mid spot's open, and Curtis Jones has probably been one of our best, especially on that left hand side, probably been the best left centre mid until Mac can move there further on in the season. That first half of the season, he really shone in that, that left-sided role. Do you reckon that's where he can probably suit England down to the round?
I think if he is going to be going by what Southgate's doing, he's going to be challenging Trent for that midfield spot, because Trent's actually been picked today as a midfielder, not a defender. So it kind of gives you an indication of where he's going to be playing, possibly. But there's nothing to say that Jones can't compete for that spot. There's no reason why both of them can't go in the same squad. Jones is more than capable of doing it. And to be fair, it'd be a midfield three of having Jones, Bellingham, and Rice in there. That's quite a decent midfield. It's not one that many teams will want to come up against. That's for certain.
Exactly. It's scary, the potential the team actually has. It's just a shame he's got probably one of the worst managers in international football in terms of tactics anyway. Oh, well, that's only England, but it's just glad it helps them out. The reward for having a good season for them too. But as you both mentioned, Harvey Elliott does miss out. It's just a shame, really. But he's probably been our most improved player for me personally.
Yeah,
I would say his future was questioned a little bit at the end of last season. Where does he fit? Is he a winger? Is he a midfielder? We weren't entirely sure. I feel like now he can hold his head high and say he's become one of the more important players of the squad. Always relied on. He ended up being probably the most informed player towards the end of the season. Reece, do you think going under Arnie's slot next season, where do you see him fit in? I know we don't 100% know yet what style, what formation that slot's going to play. We've got some ideas, but we don't know for certain. But if it was up to you, where would he play?
Is that for Elliott? Is that for Curtis?
Yeah, that's for Elliott, mate.
Elliott, for me, the 10, if he plays because I heard 4-3-2-1 is one of his formations, go-to formations, the 10. Or if he does do the 4-3-3, the 8 for me. But I do want to see him more in the 10, because just getting a bit more control where he can kind of have made more of a free role. He doesn't really have to worry too much about doing too much things defensively. He can just kind of do offer things for Liverpool offensively. But I've said this in previous streams that if we do play 4-2-3-1, there's a few players that can play the 10. Szoboszlai can play the 10. I think Curtis Jones can play the 10, and depending on what we do with Cavallo can play the 10 as well. So, but that's the position I'll go for, the 10 or the 8 for me.
That's fair enough. Personally, I think he's going to be our, not breakout star because he's already there, but I think he could be one of the shining lights next season. If he plays in that 10 position, as you said, he could really thrive, because that's what he did at Fulham, played with a big man. He linked up with him so well, and that's what got him into that side, becoming the youngest player for Fulham in the Premier League, and probably brought our attention to him through his ability on the ball. So before we get into our second topic, probably the topic of the stream, the once a year before the summer, our transfer predictions. Just want to remind everyone to like, subscribe, get onto YouTube, get in the comments, give us your transfer predictions for Liverpool and rival clubs. Get involved there. I'm sure some of you have already seen about Chelsea just announced that letting Pochettino go via mutual agreements. That's just balmy, absolutely balmy, laughable. Yeah, I've got no words for it. Considering one of the most informed sides in the league at the end of the season, to then go, yeah, actually we've had enough of you now, ta-ta. But anyway, we'll get into the predictions. Now, how I'm going to structure this, I'm going to leave everyone's hot takes to the end. I want some certainties, what you're convinced is going to happen 100%. So, Stuart, I'll start with you. What positions do you think? I know nothing's ever guaranteed in the transfer window, of course. But what are you 100%, 99% convinced of that's going to happen for Liverpool?
Mbappe is going to sign for us.
Wow.
Right out of the blocks. I mean, all serious. I've got a few players in mind, but I do think positionally wise, at least one centre back, if not two. But I do agree with what Reece said. I think Quansah has saved the club a lot of money this summer because I'm convinced it would have been two centre backs we would have been getting. But I think it's only going to be one now. The DM, left back, and probably another winger / inside forward. I'm hoping it's going to be around about the 150, 200 million mark we're going to be spending because I think we do need to do that as a statement more than anything else. Whether they will or not, who knows?
Go on then, Reece. What do you reckon? What positions do you think are pretty nailed on we're going to try to strengthen? Don't give me any players' names yet, but where do you think we'll strengthen?
Just positions. Centre back. A right attacking forward, regardless whether Salah stays or goes. Obviously, he's spoken to it today and again, but because we're being linked with Kudus, I do think we're going to address that area regardless. A centre back, a left back, and like I said, hopefully, because the last one's the most important one for me, should be the first one, but I don't look like its first priority is a DM for me. Number 6. Those are the 4. I don't think we need a load of signings. We just need 4. But we need 4 very good players in that position, not project players, not somebody's going to come in and take a bit of time. We need 4 guys who are ready now, and also 4 guys that they're not going to be worried that, I'm playing for Liverpool. A bit like when Jota came in or when Diaz came in. They came in and kind of made it their own. They didn't just think, I'm just going to be part of the squad. I want to be playing every week. I want players with that kind of mentality for those 4 positions.
That's fair. Paul mentioned something here. He thinks we'll get a fullback because Slot will definitely move Trent into midfield. Do you guys, we'll start with you, Stuart, do you feel that that's going to happen, or do you think he'll stay as a right back?
To be honest, I would prefer, me personally, prefer to see Trent moved into that spot because of his defensive frailties more than anything else. I'm not saying he's a bad defender, but obviously he does have a mistake in him. And nobody can deny that, really. Will Slot actually do that? I'm not entirely sure. Not with the formation that he usually goes for, which is more of a tweak on our 4-3-3 to a 4-2-3-1. So there really isn't a midfield spot as such for him. So more than likely, I would guess that he'd stay as a fullback with Bradley serving as his deputy more than anything else.
Yeah, it's always been a curious case of Trent Alexander-Arnold. He's so good on the ball. He's so talented. You don't know exactly where to put him because of, like I say, the weaknesses he has, the defensive lapse of concentration, his positional awareness. But you kind of need that, especially in midfield. If he's going to play in a 2-man midfield, you need it even more because you've got less support. If you play it in a 3, that right side's still going to be exposed. It's a tough one. But I feel like his talent outweighs his weaknesses. Personally, I'd stick him still at fullback, but it's down to Slot. It's one of his on his in tray, and it's a real tough one. Still rather have him in the side. We saw it at the end of the season, what we missed over January, February, even though Bradley did such a great job, as you mentioned before. Reece, then, if we're going to go for a left back, does that mean someone's moving out? Because we've already got 2 fullbacks, and of course, Joe Gomez, who could play left back there as well. Is there someone who you'd move out first then?
From the sounds of things, it sounds like they're open selling Simicast. That's what it sounds like for me. So I think he will get moved on. If it was me, I would move on Robinson. A lot of people may not want to hear that, but he's probably going to go into as the backup left back. In terms of to answer for right back, I would move Trent into midfield. Obviously, you don't know what Slot's going to do. If he plays with wing backs, then I don't mind Trent staying at fullback if he's as a wing back because he's further forward. But otherwise, I'm happy with you got Conor Bradley there. He's kind of showing us that he's a good player as well. And if Gomez stays, you've got Conor Bradley and Gomez that can battle out for right back. I just think Trent's too good not to move him into midfield for me. But, yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. So for left back then, Stu, is there any names you're convinced that we'll probably go for? Anyone that springs to mind?
There's been the ones, obviously, Ait-Nouri at Wolves, Robinson at Fulham. I think it's been time, but there are players out there. There's a young lad over in Italy, Ruggieri, plays for Atalanta. Very, very solid left back, but also young, but has got a decent amount of experience as well. So somebody who's not so much a project player, but he's got plenty of legs left in him. But off the top of my head, not many. Besides that, left backs are really sort of standing out to me. I'm presuming the club and the slot will want somebody who preferably would have Premier League or at least top La Liga, Bundesliga experience, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree. One key thing that's not been highlighted by quite a lot of people that under Michael Edwards' time at the club, bar the exception of Minamino, we haven't signed a player outside the top leagues, to my knowledge anyway. And I think that will play a crucial factor, even with Richard Hughes being the sporting director. I feel like we're going to go with, even if they are still only young and haven't got a lot of experience, I feel like they're going to go for players that are in the major league. So the adaptation period isn't going to be as long as you'd think. So for me personally, left back, I know Ait-Nouri's been linked before and a sale could go through because Wolves needing cash. I've just got a sneaky feeling that, is it Kirkash from Bournemouth?
Yeah.
I think he'd be a sound option for me. Richard Hughes obviously knows him very well because he's been at Bournemouth, but a very attacking, technical left back who likes to get forward. I think that could suit us really down to the ground. Just going off what Paul said here, saying we don't need a left back. We need centre backs at left foot who can do a job at left back. See what you're saying? If that was under Amorim, I would have been like, yeah, 100%. But with it being under Slot, who likes a left back that gets forward, and I mean, it's the most prominent side where it gets right to the byline, right up to the other end. You need someone with pace. You need attacking fullbacks. You don't need a defensive left back. I can get where the sentiment comes from, but I feel like we need someone attacking. So Kirkash, Ait-Nouri's definitely someone like that. With more wing backs than anything else. So going on to centre backs, then we've established that Quansah is definitely going to be 100% part of the main fold next season. So we need a left-footed centre-back in my eyes. Reece, is there anybody that screams to mind that you could see us going for out of anybody who've been linked, or is there anyone that screams to mind for you personally?
In Anasio, we've already been linked with him before. Plays at Sport and he's left-footed. I think he's a good player. Obviously, we've got to see how much he's going to cost. We should have really bought him already when his release clause was a lot lower, but either him, because he's quite established, good age as well, 22, 23, or Colwell. I would still take Colwell from Chelsea. I know they've had a bit of a up and down season this season, but he's left-footed. I think he's a good player. He's homegrown, and I have to remember Chelsea do need to sell this season before they can buy. I think they got to sell up to around 200 million due to FFP. So those are the two I'll be looking at for me. And Colwell's established in the Premier League, so you don't really have to worry about him having to try to adjust to the league, which I think is important.
Yeah, that's fair. Colwell's an interesting one. Like last summer, we were linked with him. Obviously, they wanted a stupid amount of money. He's homegrown, which will add to that factor as well. He's been injured for half the season, give or take. Yeah. He's been a unique commodity in recent times. Like, he can play fullback, but like I say, he's also a centre back as well. He's a strange one. He's a bit like a left-footed Gomez, personally. I don't know about you guys. He's good on the ball, but I don't think he's great going forward either. So I don't know. It would have to be a centre back. He'd have to be there. I don't think he could play left back for us in under slot system. But it's definitely a shout. What you mentioned about the FFP thing, we probably could get something out of him, out of Chelsea, especially with the manager situation now. It's all unsettled again after all the stability that eventually came in. It's all been thrown out the window by Chelsea, which is quite nice from our point of view, of course. So moving on to the midfield then, I think we all agree a number 6 is probably the only area that is questionable at the club in midfield. We're sound for 10s, we're sound for 8s. A 6 is the only question mark. Endo, good season. I think better than we thought going into it. I think it was a bit of a surprise. My only worry is, this is not from my point of view. I feel like this is what the club kept briefing last season. They kept going on about, we want someone who's not going to stand in Bajcetic's way. I've just got this horrible feeling we're not going to go and buy somebody because we believe too much in Bajcetic. I like Bajcetic a lot. I really do. But the problem is we need someone now. We need someone ready to get thrown into the fold, or at least ready to go within reason. You know what I mean? So, Stu, one, is there anybody that springs to mind who's not too young? Because you don't want someone like, say, standing in his way, but you don't want someone who's Endo's age because it makes no sense. So you need somebody who's probably 24, 25, something like that. Is there anybody you think that could suit that?
Actually, I've just been trying to find this guy. Well, there's a couple of guys more experienced, but again, I'm presuming that probably the club will be looking for a younger-ish defensive midfielder compared to Endo, who's just turned 30, I think, or pushing 31. The two sort of experienced players I had in mind were Goretzka at Munich, because they're in a little bit of a tumultuous situation, and a couple of players have said that they want to leave. I think he's one of them. And Lobotka at Napoli, who is an extremely good defensive midfielder. But the main one that I think we've been linked with before is Florentino Luis at Benfica. I'm sure he's been touted with us before. Right age, I think, profile for us, experienced, solid. But also, then again, you've also the long links that we've had with Andre in Brazil. And he had a really, really good season last season. And I don't know what happened with those rumours. Well, it didn't go anywhere, but that, again, could be revisited. So there are options out there. It's just dependent on how much they're willing to spend, I think.
Yeah, that's always the question with Liverpool, unfortunately, isn't it? It all comes down to money. I know we've done very well in managing it and spending it in the right way and following the rules, but we can all admit from time to time we've been frustrated being left short in certain areas due to that. Some people will call it stubbornness, some people will call it being smart. It's up to you how you want to take it. Yeah. Reece, is there anybody same question, is anybody that springs to mind for yourself for a DM position? Is there anybody you would like the club to go and get?
Ugarte, I think he's at PSG. Obviously, we were linked to him last season, but we messed it. We fumbled it. He hasn't really been. I don't really think he's been playing much at PSG. It hasn't really worked out. So
it's been Zaire Emery that's taken that spot.
Okay, so for me, if they're open selling, I'll take him. A couple other names we've been linked with before was Thuram at Lille, and I think they're selling him for an even cheaper rate than before.
Yeah.
So obviously, depending how FSG operate, I think they're saying 15 or 20 million. He's athletic, talented player. Obviously, he's young. You don't know if you necessarily be able to do it in the Premier League, but I don't see why not. And then Kone as well. I think it was Mano Kone. But we just got to be able to see whether he's the same player, because he did suffer a serious injury. But those are the three that I would be looking at for me personally.
No, that's fair. You both pointed out some good options there. I think last summer the DM market was broken. It was a right mess. Everyone was either not good enough or not available, or they cost 100 million, as we saw with Caicedo. You know, it was a royal mess. But I feel like this summer there's some options there to go for. There's definitely more. A couple of others to mention. Is it Varela plays for Porto? I know I mentioned about the Major Leagues thing, but I feel like we might make an exception there because he might be available with Porto's financial situation not being great. There's also Vifer from Feyenoord, but personally not convinced we'll go for a former player. We don't seem to go do that when we get a new manager to go and get former players, not especially under Edwards. Anyway, we didn't under Klopp, and I don't think we will under Slot. Definitely intriguing to see who we get DM. I think personally think it's an important position, especially if you're going to play a 4-2-3-1. You need someone who can cover ground. If you're going to play someone like a Trent or a Maka next to you, you need someone who can cover ground quickly. And I feel like Endo can't quite do that at the highest level. Not in a two-man midfield anyway. Probably in a three, yeah, not in a two. So
sorry,
the other
just
position you both pointed out. Oh, go on.
Yeah, so just a curious thought I had about Ugarte at PSG. That could work in multiple ways if we did sign him. With him being Uruguayan as well, being an international teammate of Nunez. And obviously, I think Slot's been told from a couple of headlines I've seen is that is the project for this season, is to get Nunez firing like they believe he should be doing. And perhaps bringing in an international teammate of his may help that along, possibly.
Yeah, that's more than a fair shout. I think a lot of people will be quite disappointed to hear. I'm not one of them personally. I don't know about you two, but I'm quite happy that Nunez is probably going to most likely stay in. I think he deserves one more season. The fact that he's been cast out. Yes, he's a frustrating player. Of course he is. And when we're at the top level, when you don't take your chances, you compare him to Haaland, all that stuff. It's frustrating. But there's a player there. He just needs to learn that concentration, learn that composure. And then you could see it. You get the situations he gets to, the chances he has. He could score 20-odd goals. He just needs to learn that mentality side. So, Reece, if it was up to you, do you let him go? Or do you keep Nunez? Do you give him that one more season?
No, I'll keep him for one more season. But I do feel that he needs to be the one. So even though I rate Salah highly and he's had a great career at Liverpool, I think Nunez needs to be the person that we're supplying it to. Whereas I feel when Salah has played with Nunez, I still feel a lot of our team, everything goes through to Salah kind of naturally, maybe because of how our teams were previously. But no, I would give him one more season. But I think we got to back him fully. So we got to understand that that's our number 9. That's our go-to striker.
That's fair enough. I've just put 2 comments up there. 50-50 split straight away. One, give him another season. The other's just, I've had enough of him, get rid. The fan base is a bit split on him. Stu, where do you stand? What side are you on? Do you give him that one more season? Or do you go, you know what, get what we can, sod him off, get somebody else in? What do you think?
I've said previously that I say back him up for another season. But it is by Christ, it is last chance saloon. For the amount of money that the club has invested in him, he needs to hit the ground running next season and don't stop. That is the only way he is going to appease all the Liverpool fans. He's got to hit a 30+ goal season, I think, to even be remotely satisfactory. Remains to be seen if that can happen, but let's just watch this space and see.
Yeah, like I say, I think a lot of people are that cast aside when they're that fed up. They need something drastic to overturn their opinion. Like you say, 25 to 30 goal season. Maybe a fresh approach, a new manager, a new system, new ideas will help him a lot. I feel like if you're going to play a 4-2-3-1, I think a 10 is going to do wonders. He's going to have more bodies around him, and then less attention on him will probably help him a lot. We'll wait and see. We'll move on to the right wing spot. So some good news in the last 24 hours that Salah has come out and said, I mean, next season, obviously things could change, as we already mentioned. Transfer windows always fluid all the time. But the fact he's come out publicly and said we want to go for trophies again next season, always a bit of a positive. So in my mindset, he stays. So I want someone competition-wise. Is there anyone, Reece, that you would go out and who will become Salah's successor in a year or so and providing competition now? Is there anybody out there that springs to mind?
The obvious one is Kudos from West Ham. That's the obvious one for me, Mohamed. Kudos, because I think he's Premier League proven. He's shown that he's Premier League proven. He's also shown for me that he's too good for West Ham. I think he strikes me as someone that's going to come in. He's not just going to think, I just want to be part of the squad. I actually want to cement. He's going to have the right mentality. So him, and then one other player was, I think he plays for PSV, is Bakayoko. I think we've been linked with him as well. He's another talented player who plays on that side. Those are the two I would be looking at for me. Obviously, there may be others, but those are the two that come to mind for me.
Yeah, I like Kudus a lot. I really do. The only worry I have is that release clause that West Ham know they're going to get good money for him, and rightfully so. That they took the risk, spent the money and bought him in. He's versatile, play across the front line. It suits us down to the ground. It's just whether we stump up that. You're talking 60 to 70 million for potentially someone who's going to play second fiddle for a season or two. Don't know if the club would probably go for it, but if it was up to me, I'd be all over it. Like you say, class player, Prem proven. So, same question to you, Stu.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anybody that springs to mind for that right wing position for a potential Salah successor in a year or so?
The one that I would really, really like to see is Elise from Palace.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, there's two little caveats to that, though. Two question marks over it. One, Palace have been on really good form up until the end of the season. They've done. Glasner has done amazing work there. And will that actually change the mindset of the club, whether they want to sell the likes of Elise and Eze? I don't know. But I would like to see Elise in. But the other concern for him is the injury record. I've had enough of bad injury records with players. I've run out of patience for it. We can't keep on losing players for half a season to a season. That seems to happen on a regular basis with Liverpool at the moment. So I'd like to see that backed off. Besides Elise, again, Bakayoko at PSV. I don't know too much about him, but it looks like he's got a decent record. Nico Williams at Bilbao, I think it is. I think I got it up here. So yeah, it is Bilbao he's at. And just Jeremy Pino at Villarreal. He could be a little bit more pricey, but he's another player, another Spanish winger who's very much in the same mould as Salah. And Villarreal, not the most well-off club, might be able to get him for a decent price. So, but they would be my picks.
There's some fair shouts in there, especially the Villarreal one. It's something that Liverpool tend to do. They'll just go and get somebody we've never heard of, a random link from nowhere, and they end up being decent players. That's just good scouting, good database working. So that's a fair shout. I think the right wing market this summer, personally, it's quite fruitful, especially the ones that are available. As you mentioned, you've got Elise, you've got Neto, both class players, but injury prone to hell. And it's frustrating, really, because they both would have bright futures if they could just stay fit. It's the only thing when the body lets them down. You look at Thiago, world-class player, and his body's just letting down for us. I don't want any more of that. It might be class player, but I just don't want any more broken players, please. Paul mentioned Bowen, but unfortunately a bit too old. But then you got Nico Williams, as you mentioned. Of course, Kudus, as Reece mentioned. Kubo from Sociedad. And then, of course, the one that's got linked to us recently is Bakayoko. which probably makes the most sense personally. I don't know about you two, but for a price of around 40 odd million for a left footer, which we've only got a couple of them in the squad, I think someone who could definitely cause some real, tear it up in the league over the next year or so. I think it could really be interesting to have someone like that as a Salah successor down the line. So, yeah, definitely an interesting time to be a Liverpool fan going into this summer. It's a unique summer, something we're not usually used to. New manager, new ideas, new system, new structure. It's definitely going to be a strange and wonderful time over these next few months. Just before we move on to our last subject, can remind everybody, get over to YouTube, get in the comments, give us your predictions for the summer transfer window for Liverpool and for our rival clubs. Because why? It's going to be quite difficult.
Dean, you're breaking up a lot.
Yeah.
What they can do, because I don't think even they don't know what they can do.
Yeah, Dean, your signal reception is quite bad. Maybe come out and come back in.
Yeah.
So, Stuart, who do you think they bring in as a manager first? We'll just get that done first. Who do you think Chelsea bring in first as a manager?
You know what? As a shout, I would have said Nagelsmann, but now he's signed on for Germany. There is another German manager that is available, not Klopp, but Hansi Flick, I think it is. Former Munich manager as well. Very good manager. He could be within a shout, or as I said previously, a wild return for Jose Mourinho again. That'd be bloody hilarious, that.
Yeah, I don't see it. So
no, definitely, I don't see it either.
He's crazy to go there for a third time.
Or Antonio Conte. Hey. You never know. It's a strange old world in football.
Right.
No.
Where is he? Oh,
He dropped out.
He'll probably come back in a minute. If I was gonna pick Chelsea for manager, I do think the Zerbi is a shout. I think, because I think part of the reason why he left Brighton is because he's quite ambitious. He didn't really get back to how he wanted to get back, and he will get back. That's one thing. Chelsea will spend money. It's just they spend money quite recklessly in it. So he might look at that as an opportunity where he might think, I'm going to get backed. And there's better players. I've got better players here than I do at Brighton. I don't maybe have to worry about my best players being sold.
Yeah, that's true. So there may be a couple of managerial slots coming up in Italy anyway. Well, in fact, there is one possibly coming up at Bologna, because it looks like Thiago Motta's going to go to Juventus.
All right.
So he could go back there because his family's still there. His family never came over with him.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So apparently his family and that are still in Italy.
Also, like I said, Amrin as well. Potentially, like I said, it could be a number of managers, to be fair, but maybe Amrin as well, because I saw Chelsea were being linked with him. Like a lot of the time when Liverpool do things, they kind of tend to copy what we do. When we were being linked with him, they were being linked with him, and they actually had a manager in place, and it was just, it's very strange. But yeah, it's in the chat. Someone in the chat said, "Who do we think will be promoted on Sunday, Leeds or Southampton? Who are you going for, Stu?"
I would love to see Southampton come back up over Leeds.
Okay.
Hey,
Oh,
Here we
sorry about that,
go.
lads. Sorry, it all crashed.
It's all right,
on me. It
man.
all
It's
went
all right.
horribly wrong.
Happens.
I do
Happens.
apologise.
I would be going
Right.
for Leeds. But either one, I don't mind. But I do think they got a decent team there as well and a decent manager.
They have, and they got a couple of decent young players coming through as well. So I'd like
One
to see
we're
that.
being linked with as well. I think Somerville we've been linked.
Yeah,
with.
Archie Gray, the
Okay.
centre mid, good player, very good player.
Well, thanks for keeping that going for me, lads. I do apologise once again.
No problem.
To end it all off, then, I want you to give me a hot take for this summer. Something wild you think it's plausible that you think probably might happen at the same time. It could be in regards to Liverpool. It could be in regards to a rival club. It's completely up to you. I'll start with you, Reese. Is there something that you think that's completely wild to the general fan base, but you think that, I think that might just happen this summer?
As in, like a manager going
transfer wise,
player. Okay, player. Trying to think. I'm not sure. I'm hoping. I say hopefully Liverpool get someone that you wouldn't think Liverpool would get, which is like a big name out of the blue, but like an Mbappe or something like that. But he's probably going to. It looks like he's going to Real Madrid. I'm not sure. I could just see maybe Man United, not in terms of player, more manager. I think if they get De Zerbi, I'll be a little bit worried because I think he's a good manager. So I'm hoping they don't. But that's probably the wild pick, I would say, if United were to get De Zerbi.
That's fair. What about you, Stu? Is there any wild hot takes? It could be about Liverpool, like I said, or it could be a rival club. What do you think could happen? Something wild for me.
I think there's going to be a couple of things that are going to happen. I think De Zerbi may end up back in Italy, but as Reece said, actually, it's a fair shout. I kind of agree with Reece on this one. I think De Zerbi takes over at United. I also think Rashford gets sold. And I think Southgate, after the Euros, takes the Brighton job. But, yeah. Wow. So I'm going down the bookies now just to put that on.
Yep, so it's fair.
What about yourself?
Right. I'm going to give you mine. It's completely different to what you two are doing.
Okay.
And it might upset a couple. I've got a feeling, small feeling, and I hope it doesn't happen. I've just got this little feeling that Joe Gomez gets sold. And I'll explain why before people jump down my throats. So, basically with the signing and another centre-back, he's straight away, in my eyes, he's fifth choice. For right-back, you've got two class right-backs already there. You've already got two left-backs. We're getting rid of Tsimikas. We're going to get somebody else. Where's he going to play? When's he going to play? And you're going to get good for him now. If a Villa come in and offer 50 million, so like that, you're going to sell him. I like Joe Gomez. I really do. Been fantastic this season. But I don't see where, one, he gets the game time. And where does he play under slot? Personally, like I say, I've offended Stuart that much. He's walked off. But yeah, that's my wild take. But because my voice is on the verge of going, I will have to end the stream. Go on.
I think that could happen as well. I'm sure. Wasn't it? I don't know how long ago. It was maybe a few weeks ago, a month ago that Gomez may be open to leaving because he does want more first team football. So potentially, like I said, if he's going to be a squad player again, might make more sense as well. As much as I would like to keep him, if a really good bid came in, like you said, 40, 50 million or anything above even that, I think Liverpool would take it, to be fair.
Yeah, that's fair. What do you reckon, Stuart? Do you think is it too wild of a take that it's made you walk off, or do you think it could actually, if you think about it, would it actually happen?
I was disgusted at the thought, and I just stormed off. That was it. No, sorry about that. I had a neighbour knocking at my door.
That's all right.
To be fair, actually, I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him for wanting that first team football now. He's at the prime point of his career. And at the end of the day, he's got to think about what he wants to do. Does he want to play second, third, fourth choice in his favoured position? Or does he want to go to a club like Villa, Spurs, even? Those clubs that are around the Europa League spot who want to push on, the experience that he could bring to a team like that would be phenomenal. And yeah, I think he deserves it. He's had a good career with us. I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen. And you say, if we get 40, 50 million, which is more than fair market value, I think, for somebody who can play in defensive midfield and all across the back three, I think that's a good shout.
Yeah, so not too much of a wild take, as it says, but this is a wild take. I can't deal with that, Paul. I'm sorry. I'm not dealing with Gomez becoming our starting six. I don't think our hearts and our... I just can't. I can't even comprehend it, mate. Sorry. Oh, dear. But yeah, my voice is on the verge of going completely. So I'm going to have to end it there. But thanks for joining me, guys. I really appreciate it. Next time it will be an hour when my voice is back to normal, 100%. But thanks for joining us tonight, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Remember, 2:30 tonight, American stream. Join us there. Thanks for everything. Good night, guys.